in many of my storytelling time. And if you haven't seen them, then you need to check them out. There's some good videos. I lived on the east side of Chicago by the lake, had a beautiful apartment, and I lived in Lake Meadows. And so during this time, Angie was having a dry spell. And what do I mean by a dry spell? I did not have a boyfriend, okay? I would occasionally go on dates, but for whatever reasons, I don't know why, but I call it my dry spell. And my best friend at the time, she was having a dry spell as well. And at the time, we were both staying in Lake Meadows, and Lake Meadows had a lot of different buildings, so we wasn't in the same building, but we lived very close to each other. And so every Friday, she would come over, and we lived across the street from Jules. So one of us would go, whoever's turn it was, would take turns, go to Jules, and we'll buy wine and come back to our apartment, to each other's apartment, and we'll just have fun. We'll watch movies. We'll just laugh and talk about and joke around and just have a good time like young people are supposed to do. Okay, so this particular time, I had met a man. Okay, I met a man, and very handsome man. And so I had to tell her I'm not going to be available this Friday. I met somebody, and I would put guys at that time doing a lot of tests. Well, let me have your phone number, where you work at. And I would check everybody out. And my brother said, the reason why you don't have a man is because they can't pull the wool over your eyes. You are not somebody they can fool. You are not somebody that they can just talk crazy to. And so you're just meeting the wrong men. And I believe that to be true. But this guy checked out. I called his house. I asked for both phone numbers. I called his job and verified where he worked. And everything panned out. And so we started seeing each other. And I had to tell my friend, hey girl, I can't see you this Friday. I have a date. And she was like, oh wow. Oh, you have a date. Well, who is this guy? And I told her who he is, but I've always been a person where I'm not going to just give you up all information about the person I'm dating, and you're not going to meet him. Oh, no. I never like to keep a lot of women around my man, especially during that time. Now that I'm married, we really hang around people that have a significant other. And so, but back then, as a young person, that was just my motto. I never kept a lot of any woman around the men I was dating. And it had to been a long time that we were dating before you meet him. And so she was asking me all these questions, and I'm looking at her like, I'm not going to answer that. Girl, where he work at? I'm not going to answer that. Of course not. And so she just kept saying, well, I have a guy that's coming in town, and I want all of us to double date. And I was like, not going to happen. Not going to happen. And so I say about a couple months went by, probably about 3 months. And I told her, sure, you can come over. We'll do like we always did. It's your turn to bring the wine. And I'm not trying to say I cut my friend off because I had a man. No, we had seen each other on other days. But Friday and Saturday, I'm just getting to know this man. So we spend our Fridays and Saturdays together. And so I would see her maybe during the week or something like that. But this particular Saturday, I told her, yeah, girl, come over. It's your turn to get the wine. Bring it over. Let's have a good time. So she came over to my apartment without the wine. And she was like, why don't you go get the wine? I forgot. Now, I did think it was kind of odd that you had to pass by Jules to come to my house, but you came empty-handed, and then you're in my home, and then you asking me to go get the wine. But I didn't question it. She was my very best friend, and so I said, okay. Now, let me add a stick pin in this. I had went to get my hair done, and I took off all my jewelry. Back then, I wore all my jewelry just like they wearing now. I had a lot of gold necklaces, a lot of gold bracelets, and every time I got my hair done, I would take all that stuff off. And so I come back with the wine, and where's your jewelry? You don't have any jewelry on. So I'm like, oh, I got my hair done, I took my jewelry off. I just don't have it on. I haven't put it back on yet. Some time goes by again, and she's like, girl, I never seen you without your jewelry this long. Where your jewelry at? I said, girl, I have not tried to put my jewelry on. I'm not worried about it. And I'm thinking to myself, why in the hell you so worried about why I don't have any jewelry on? And so finally I go to put my jewelry on, and I had like a lot of gold chains, a lot of gold bracelets, and every last one of them was broken half. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. What happened to my jewelry? And so the first thing I did was call her up, and I said, girl, I was trying to put my jewelry on. All my jewelry is broken in half. And she was like, right away, she said, your boyfriend did that. You need to ask him what happened to your jewelry. I said, you really believe he did that? She was like, yeah, he did it. So I called my mom next, and I told my mom what happened. And my mom was like, that don't sound right. And that really don't sound like that's what your boyfriend did. But moving right along, I saw my boyfriend. I'm like, did you do something to my jewelry? And he was like, what are you talking about? I said, my jewelry is broke. All my jewelry is broke. I said, I'm not blaming you, but I'm just trying to figure out who's in my house. I said, because I don't have a lot of people in my home. It's between you and my best friend. And he was insulted. So he said, well, are you accusing me? I said, I can't say I'm accusing you, but I am just questioning, letting you know something happened to my jewelry. And so he was like so upset that I had even came to him. And so my mom was like, I hate to say this, but a man will sell your jewelry. A woman will break your jewelry. You didn't have nobody but them two in your house, so you know it was your friend. And I was like, so, oh my God. I was just, my heart was heavy because this was my very, very best friend. And I just couldn't believe and trying to figure out why would she do this. And my mom is like a private investigator. Her and I are really good at figuring things out. And I said, you know what? If we had opened up a mother-daughter private investigator, we probably have a house on the hill today because we would be very successful. But my mama was like, you know what? She's jealous that you have a boyfriend and you're not spending that time with her. And I was like, that's crazy. I mean, she should be happy for me. That's crazy. I just don't get it. And my mother said, well, you need to get it. And so, I talked it over with my boyfriend, and he agreed with my mother. And so I had to come to her. I came to her. And I came to her apartment as I wanted to have a face-to-face. And so she was like, what's going on? I said, are you jealous that I have a boyfriend? I said, because regardless, it's not like I put you down. I just can't spend as much time with you, but we still spend time. And she was like, why are you asking me that? No, I'm not jealous of you and your boyfriend. I said, well, I'm trying to figure out why you broke my jewelry. And she was like, what? So I'm your best friend and you are accusing me, your best friend? And then she started acting like she's insulted. I'm insulted. You gonna trust this man that you only been with for 3 months and I've been knowing you for years? And I said, I hate to say it, but yes, I believe you broke my jewelry. I said, because you came over. I went back, and I had went back like 3 weeks. I said, I asked you to come over. It was your turn to bring the wine. You passed jewels up, which you never do, and you didn't bring no wine. You come in my apartment and was like, you go get the wine, and very adamant about it, which I thought was strange. So that's when you had your time to break my jewelry. You was alone in my house, and you had your time. I said, you kept asking me over and over, when you gonna put your jewelry on? Where's your jewelry? And I thought that was strange, you know. I said, because what do you care about if I have my jewelry on? I said, so you might as well tell the truth. You broke my jewelry. And honey, she cussed me out in every language that she could, honey. She cussed me from the Rudy to the Tootie. And I just told her like this on the way out of her house. I know you broke my jewelry. And I am so hurt because we were supposed to be sisters. And so I am done with you. And I was done with her, you know. Angie's somebody that you can be my friend, but when you cross me like that, and then you lie about it in my face, and her and I have been friends for a very long time, and no, that's a that's a never again. You know, to be in my home and destroy my property. And so years later, after that happened, she called me up on my phone at work. And she said to me, I'm sorry. And next, girl, bye. I have moved on to other friends. And, you know, that was apology a day too late, a dime too short. I always appreciate people that can say I'm sorry, but to call me back so many years later to say you're sorry, I wasn't rude because I'm not that girl, but I just said thank you and hope you living your best life, honey, because I am. And that was the end of the conversation. And so that's my story. The moral of the story is you got to be careful of those so-called friends. Friends that you can have known for years are friends when you get a man, when you get a blessing from God, when you get a come up, they can be jealous of all of that. It can be hurtful, but at the end of the day, my advice is love the people that love you. And for people that mess you over, next, move on. And so I hope you enjoyed this short story. And thank you for watching my channel.